The Glass Menagerie is a 1973 film based on the play by Tennessee Williams. This is directed by Anthony Harvey, and it stars Katharine Hepburn as Amanda Wingfield. We also have Sam Waterston as Amanda's son Tom, Joanna Miles as her daughter Laura, and Michael Moriarty as Jim. I've never read the play, I've never seen the play, so I can't compare it, I can't comment on it as an adaptation, I can only comment on it as a film itself. I have to say, I rather enjoyed it. I don't always like films like these. I feel like a lot of plays are very slow. Despite my love of theatre, dramas are often quite slow, particularly if it's more character driven and I don't like the characters, but actually I quite like the characters here and I think that that's why I liked it. Amanda is obsessed with her daughter's status and finding her daughter a suitor. She's also very critical of her son. And it's about primarily about their relationship, told in part through the perspective of Tom, but I feel like most of it is actually Amanda's opinions, which is quite an interesting setup to have the narrator a character, but most of the views are Amanda's, and a lot of it is about her lamenting her own youth and what her life used to be like and now hoping for the best for her children, but in a very critical and controlling kind of way. And I think she's a really fascinating character. I don't want to say I love the character because there are a lot of things she does that I don't necessarily agree with. But I thoroughly enjoyed Katharine Hepburn's performance. Of course I did. I'm very biased. I love Katharine Hepburn. But I found the character fascinating enough that even when the narrative wasn't moving anywhere, because to be honest, not much happens for a good 2/3 of this. The whole thing is about an hour and 40 minutes. But despite the fact that not much happens, there are a couple of reveals here and there that help to heighten emotions. That kind of kept me engaged, but it was mostly the performances from everybody, not just Hepburn. And I found the characters to be quite fascinating. Tom, as well, I thought was a very interesting character because he would stand up to his mother. For example, there's a scene quite early on, I think it might have been the opening scene if I remember, where they're at a dinner table and she's criticizing him for the way he's eating, and he does kind of fight back. Not so much aggressively, more just exasperated. But at the same time, there are moments where things are a little bit nicer between them. And I think this changing dynamic is really fascinating. And they have a very interesting relationship, all of the characters. I think the character of Jim came in at the right time. He came in about 2/3 of the way through. I didn't time it exactly, but roughly around then. And at that point, my attention was starting to wander a little bit. Things were starting to get a little bit repetitive. And then he is actually a colleague of Tom's who he invites over. There's a potential romantic interest from Laura, but whether or not that's reciprocated, I'm not going to say. And I feel like bringing in that extra character at that point was really crucial for helping things to move forward into the final third of the narrative. While I know it's never going to be my favourite film, not even my favourite Katharine Hepburn film, I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. The characters are really interesting. The on screen chemistry is really great. The acting's very good, very well shot. We have a great use of the space. Although it's based on a play, I feel like it was definitely set up to be more like a film. There are some play adaptations where they don't really use the space as a film should, and they basically just film it as if it was a stage show. And I feel like it's a missed opportunity because if you're going to adapt it as a film, take advantage of the things that a film will allow you to do. And I really think they did that with some a good use of the space. And the set designs, some gorgeous costumes as well. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Definitely not a favourite film, but there was nothing about it that didn't work. As I said, when the pacing started to slow down, they brought in another character. I don't know exactly if the pacing's the same as it is in the play. I'm going to imagine or assume that it's very close to the source material, but please do feel free to let me know if that's not the case. But either way, didn't mind it, didn't love it enough that I would rush to see it as a stage production or indeed to read it. But watching it, I quite liked it, and I'm very happy to recommend it.